Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gamehound's Happy Endings. This is the day after the Sony press conference. We're doing this on June 11th. And Goalie was not around for the wrap-up of the Sony presentation at the end of the evening because he's on the East Coast and it's a 3-hour difference and he was having trouble with the feed. So we have Goalie with us now to offer his insights.
Yeah, I was trying to watch last night, and unfortunately, the Xbox One and a couple others were on Spike TV, so they were real easy to watch. But then on the feed, everybody's telling me where to go, so I got the iPad out and I'm watching, and it was nothing. And then it got to be like 20 after 9. I'm like, okay, obviously I'm having a problem. So I get on my laptop, nothing. And I'm like, okay, I'm really doing something wrong here. And then finally, it started to roll, and everybody said, okay, yeah, it's fine now. And then it would go like 10 seconds, and then come in, and we got a really great show for everybody here. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was especially at the beginning. They had real issues with the feed. Man.
It was frustrating because first of all they were late. Okay,
right.
And that kind of ticked me off. Okay, here I am waiting for Sony. I'm on the edge of going to PlayStation here. Because of all the Xbox stuff, and I really want to hear what they got to say, and you're late. So now it's getting to be 9:30 my time. I'm like, oh, if you guys go an hour and a half, it's going to be 11. I'm going to be in bed, and I ain't going to be able to talk to you guys. And then I couldn't watch it anyway. So I was like, go to bed. So I actually picked up my iPod in bed, and I was trying to listen to it, and I think I dozed off because I woke up and it was over. And then I looked at my phone, and you had sent me some text messages, and Piss Boy had sent me a few too. So I was like, okay, obviously I missed some good stuff. And then I saw that you guys are going online, but you had to wait for Nick to get home from work. It's like, oh, geez, I'm going to fall asleep again.
Yeah, it was the stream definitely had its issues. And I think that's probably, Sony always runs a little bit late. It's just one of those things that when you've done the E3 thing a lot and been there every year, is it Sony does run late because they actually serve food. They're the only the day before press conferences, the usual run up of Xbox and in previous years Nintendo, EA, Ubisoft, and Sony. Sony actually serves food out in front, and it's always the same food, and it's awesome. But it takes a lot of time to get people actually out of the front of the Masonic Auditorium and get them inside. So they're a little bit late. But before we get into it, can I just say that this Spreaker is really working out awesome. Yeah.
It's like, all day long I've been ready to explode on this. And it's like, I didn't want to have to wait till Wednesday afternoon when we record the show and then wait a few days to get it up. So I'm loving this jumping on with the big news stuff right here with the Spreaker. And I hope you guys are, the chat room people who have been really great following us in the chat room and keeping up to date. Okay, so here goes. So the chick is fun, right?
Right.
She's fun. She likes to watch sports on TV, right?
Yep.
Okay, she likes to watch, and she's fun. She's good looking. She's good looking, right? You'd say she's good looking, right? Okay.
Yep.
Got a steady job. She's even got a hot tub in her place, right?
Yep.
Okay. She likes to cook. She's good. She's a good cook, right?
Sure.
Okay. And she likes to have sex. Okay, so she likes to have sex.
Oh yes.
And she lets me play golf on Sunday mornings.
Yes, she does.
Okay, so she's all this, right? Why am I not running to this girl and putting my arms around her?
Exactly.
Why? Why am I so hesitant to jump ship to the PlayStation for what is keeping me with the old girlfriend? I was hoping that she would be the one that would cook me meals and let me play golf and want to watch sports on TV. I was really hoping the old girl would come through. That's kind of what's going on right now. It's like I'm so comfortable with my Xbox. My friends list has been around since Xbox One or Xbox original. Whatever that
was.
The
first Xbox.
That's the other thing that drives me nuts about it. You can't say Xbox One. PlayStation is, as much as I don't like, PlayStation is a boring name. Okay, Xbox is really cool. PlayStation is boring. But you know what you got. 1, 2, 3, now 4.
And guess what they're going to call the next one?
If I'm going out on a limb, it's not going to be 1. Or just PlayStation.
It's going to be PlayStation 5. And what's going to be the next Xbox?
Xbox
What?
original.
Right, 2?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm so. But again, it's like, why am I this? She has everything. This girl has everything that I wanted when I put out my list of what I wanted, and I went on, my website dating. She fit the bill, and yet there's still part of me that's wants to stay with Xbox because I'm comfortable with there, and I got my friends list, and I still talk to these people, and I love my friends list, and I like how they do things, and I like chatting in the party modes and in the Xbox Live and the marketplace, and I can watch my own hockey games. It's just, I love my 360, and they're taking that away from me eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know why I'm not running to PS4, but yeah. And I listened to you guys' show. Actually, I listened on the way to work this morning for 20 minutes, and then I listened to the rest of it on the way home. And you guys did a really good Spreaker last night with the Sony there. Yeah, you, Piss Boy, and Nick Faced. And you know what put it over the edge for me is something that Piss Boy said when you guys talked about all the other things about and they are just taking shot after shot at Xbox and
it
Microsoft.
Continues to come on.
That video, I don't know if it was one of the listeners or Piss Boy put it up on our Facebook page about how to share PlayStation games. I knew what it was, and I still watched it, and it was awesome. It was awesome. It really was. It was, oh, man.
Yeah. It's Jack, the whole group of them. In fact, I saw an interview with Jack Trenton today. Well, I read part of it. I believe it was on Kotaku. And they asked Jack, they said, when you were going to come up with this information, when you made the announcement, will you play used games? Did you know what the reaction was going to be? He's like, yeah, of course I knew what the reaction was going to be.
The guy on stage, I didn't catch his name, but he had that little shit-eating grin going on.
Jack Trenton, yeah, he's the head of Sony America, Sony Entertainment America. So he's like the big honcho for the United States when it comes to Sony.
Right. So it's got everything. It does everything. Now here's my question that all right. So here's the question to you. Okay, and hopefully you know, if not, if people in the chat room know. Okay, so on the Microsoft one and the EA's one and Ubisoft, they were using a lot of tablets, right? Mm-hmm. Tablet combined with the games, okay? Is that going to be the same? Will PlayStation 4 have use of the tablets, or do you have to use their Vita?
They didn't really address it, but in one demo, I don't know if you saw it, but the demo for Assassin's Creed Black Flag, they did have someone and showed someone using a tablet. No, it wasn't that one. It wasn't Assassin's Creed. It was Watch Dogs, showing a tablet where the person with the tablet called in an EMP or something, where when the player was kind of cornered, the person on the tablet came in and actually did something to help him get out of that situation. So I'm assuming that, yes, there is some kind of connectivity with tablets, but they did not address it specifically. Yeah,
because you could tell that Microsoft, they were doing a lot with the tablets.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not a breaking point. I mean, if they say, no, you have to have the Vita. Hang on 1 second. I got to turn me up a little bit. If they said no tablet support, that wouldn't be the breaking point with PS4. I wouldn't not want to go to them because of that. But that would definitely be a check in the Xbox category.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, if they're telling me that I have to buy their Vita to do the tablet stuff,
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Shonikin is in the chat room. He says Sony seemed rather meh about the tablet thing.
Yeah.
I think that it wasn't that they were meh. It's that they probably realized that the tablet was addressed both by Ubisoft and by EA, because the games that they showed tablet connectivity. So they probably figured, hey, this has already been addressed. And because these games are going to be on PS4, so clearly if those games are on PS4 and they've introduced the game saying they have tablet connectivity, then yes, you're going to have tablet connectivity.
Okay. Now, look, as far as the game for game things, it was, there was some Xbox games that I liked. Titanfall is not going to be the deciding factor whether I go to spend my extra $100 for Xbox One or not. Titanfall is just, okay, fun, yeah, whatever. But I think you guys said it's going to be on 360 anyway.
I think that there's going to be a lot of those partnerships that are going to be seriously reconsidered because I don't know. Well, you probably didn't see it, but on Destructoid, they ran a poll last night, and I only checked it last night. Haven't checked it recently. In fact, I could check it right now. Where they said, it's a little early to tell, but what console do you think you're going to get? An Xbox One or PS4? And it was something like 95%.
Wow.
For the Xbox 4. So it's, I think...
For Xbox?
For the PS4.
Okay.
95% for the PS4 and 5% for the Xbox One. So... Microsoft, and we were talking about this last night when I was talking to Nick after the show on when we were playing a game on Xbox Live, that Microsoft has to reconsider something at this point. They have to. They have to either reconsider the price. They have to either put out another Xbox console that just plays games so that they can reduce the price, because that's what the price difference is. It's not that the PS4 is cheaper than the Xbox, because PS4 has always had more expensive. It's always had a higher price. It's always had more expensive guts. And Kevin was like, well, if they've reduced the price that much, how is it? Maybe it's not as high quality hardware. I think the quality of the hardware is fine. It's just that Xbox has added a DVR and all this other stuff onto it that has jumped the price up. So it's not that the Xbox console is cheap. Not that the Sony console is cheap. It's that the Xbox console is so expensive. So Xbox may have to, at this point, now that the hangover of what just happened to them is coming kind of rolling into their brains, they're going to either have to offer a different console that is just a gaming box, or they're going to have to reduce their price, which they can't because they've already put that in ink. Or they're going to have to roll back on some of these features, which they can't because they've already announced them.
Yeah. Well, like Sean Aiken said here in the chat room there, $100 has to make the big shift in the initial base, install base, rather. And I kind of agree.
No, would you, for $100, even if they lowered the price $100, which is a massive amount for that. That's a quarter of the price. Well, a fifth of the price. Would you still go to the Xbox 4? Xbox One.
If they look right now, price, if they were the same in price, it still swings the PS4 for me.
Right, because of the used games.
Here's the thing, is if they kept with the same thing, let's just say, so Xbox was what, $499. If PS4 come in and said we're $599, I think you're going to get the same split. You're going to get the people that are going to go PS4 no matter what, and the Xbox no matter what. And I think that if that was to happen, if it was $100 more than Xbox, I think the battle lines that were drawn are going to stay the same, okay? Because, everybody's used to the PS3 being more expensive. And so, okay, well, whatever. I'm a PlayStation guy, so I'm going to stay with it even though they're more expensive. Coming $100 the other way, coming $100 below Xbox, now you're roping in people like you and me. And even Nick was talking about going to the dark side.
Oh, yeah. I think that there's no question that there's only one person that I've spoken to that I've seen anywhere that has said no matter what, I want the Xbox because it's better. It's only one person, and I believe, and I'm not going to call this person out on the air, but I believe this person has his head firmly in his ass. And I also know that once everybody jumps to the PS4, he's going to follow.
Yeah, well, one of my friends...
Because you'll be playing it alone.
One of my friends, the $500 didn't bug him, and he's liking all the TV stuff, and he's like, Dave, I'm all excited about the Xbox One. But this is the guy that had the PS3 and get rid of it because he said he didn't like the online part of PS3, that it was not nearly as smooth and as easy to use as Xbox. So my big fear is that if I do go to PS4, that I'm going to get online and it's going to be horrible. And it's going to be like, oh, man, I should have gone with Xbox because that's what I'm used to. And even though it's $100 more, Xbox Live is just so smooth. And I'm hoping I don't kick my ass if I switch over to PlayStation and find out that Live is just totally clunky and parties don't work. You know what I mean? Because I've never been on a PS3, so I don't know. But a good friend of mine I Xbox with all the time said he hated the PlayStation on Live.
Right. Well, the PlayStation, because but they've already said they've addressed the issues that the PlayStation 3 has with their social community. And that's cross-platform chat. Even if
now, what is that? What is cross-platform chat?
Party. Cross-platform chat means that you're in game A, I'm in game B, and we can still talk to each other.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because you kept bringing that up, and for some reason that it didn't strike. When I think platform, I don't think games. It's just they should have said cross-game chat instead of cross-platform.
Yeah, it's a party chat, and that was the thing that really, among other things, but it was the number one thing. Once the price came down and there was price parity between the two consoles, that's the thing that really killed them. Is the connectivity, the fact you had to use a Bluetooth, which does not work well, and the fact that it's not social like the Xbox is. The Xbox is tremendously social, where you just go into a room, you have a party, people can jump in, people can jump out, and you can talk all night. Xbox didn't have that, or PlayStation didn't have that. The PlayStation 4, because the Xbox model was so successful, I can't imagine that the PlayStation 4's model won't mirror that it won't absolutely mirror the Xbox Live.
It looked like Xbox One went off in a different direction, call it Power Windows direction. And I was like, man, if PS4 comes in and is the true successor to the Xbox 360, it's basically Xbox 360 souped up. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't need to take a sharp left with my video game.
You're going to have a steep learning curve because you hate going into places where you don't know where you belong. And you're going to be frustrated as hell because it's not going to be exactly the same. You like coming in and you like when you walk into a house, you like knowing where your living room is. You like knowing where your bathroom is. You like knowing where your kitchen is. And when you go into the kitchen, you don't want to have to worry about, like, how do I get this oven to start? How do I work this? You're going to have to deal with that. But recognize that you're, for that bit of pain of getting used to a new controller and a new console and a new dashboard and kind of a different way of thinking and essentially switching over all of your friends list to this PlayStation 4 friends list. What you're getting back is I get to play used games. I don't have to check in with my games with the DRM. I don't have to have a Kinect in my home because the PlayStation, the Eye, is not required for the console.
Yeah,
those things right there are so much of a bigger improvement on what the Xbox One is offering, that it's worth it to me to go through a little bit of growing pains go to a better system.
I was thinking about that too, because like I said, I know nothing about PlayStation, and all I've heard is from my friends it's just bad. But then other people say it's not too bad, and I can only imagine with the new one, it's going to have to be. If they're looking to drag Xbox people over, it's going to have to be as good as Xbox or in that same vein.
Even if it's not as good as Xbox in some aspects, I'm willing to take it.
I am too, and part of me is like, something, I've done the Xbox thing for a long time, and I do like it, but something, it might not be too bad to try something different.
Sure.
Like I've since 1992, every SUV that I've had 4 of them, they've all been white.
Mm-hmm.
No joke. Since 1992, I bought a Zuzu Rodeo that was white, and I just love how white SUVs look. And since 1992, I've bought nothing but white SUVs, except for I think I had a lease for a pickup truck for a couple of years. But anyway, it's all been white. So now when I went to get a new truck last year, I says, something? As much as I love white SUVs, I'm not getting white. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get any color but white. And even though I love white and I'm used to it, I'm going to get it. So I got a black SUV.
Right.
First time since 1992. Now what's that? 21 years. Like I say, almost exclusively. For 19 of the 21 years, I've had white SUVs, and now I got a black one.
Yeah.
So I mean, change. No one really likes change, but I'm willing to take a chance on this. The only thing I'm concerned about is the wife, because the wife has so less tolerance than I do when it comes to this stuff. She needs to be handheld and walked through for all these things. And if she sits like on her iPad, it's like, I can't find this. And next thing you know, the iPad, she flings it across the room. It's got to be laid out for her. So I'm concerned about bringing her over to PS4 because she doesn't have the patience to look through.
Well, I would say hold off on the PlayStation until you till you've had it in your house.
what
You're
I'm
familiar with it. Because if you come over to her and say, I don't know how to find it either, that's just going to make her madder.
Yeah, so
Get her used to what you're playing.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
And Black Sphere Void says test drive with a friend's console if possible. I would say no.
Yeah, because it's not going to be the same.
It's not going to be the same. I think that the dashboard is because we just switched over, bought a new receiver, so we had to unplug everything and replug it back in, and recalibrate everything and all hook up everything properly. And Kevin had a bitch of a time trying to find audio settings. I actually had to go online and say, where are audio settings in PS4 dashboard or PS3 dashboard? And Kevin was like, God, this dashboard is just a piece of shit. So the whole layout, I think, is going to have to reflect. And if PlayStation, if Sony is smart, what they will do is they will make a dashboard that is familiar enough with Xbox, because they're going to get a ton of Xbox players.
Yeah, they will.
Making it familiar enough to Xbox, because Xbox One's not going to be like it.
Yeah, but I'm actually, another reason I'm looking forward to go to PS4 is I hate the Xbox dashboard. It's that Windows 8 phone crap.
Yeah.
I hate it. I had to go online to find out how to do something with my avatar.
Yeah.
Because it used to be spelled out, and now it can't. Now you got to go dig for it. Now you have to go to Google to find out where the settings are on Xbox. They change everything, and then they get rid of stuff without telling you. Like, I used to go on to Facebook on my Xbox. Like, okay, you're sitting there just lazing around. Oh, what's on Facebook? I was looking. It's gone. They didn't even tell you it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. So Xbox. I love my 360, but there's some things that they change, including the dashboard, that I can't stand. So, but again, it's you look at it, it's like, okay, swapping games in and out, so I can buy one game for each of us and play it. No big deal.
Absolutely.
And Nick, I don't know if it was Nick or somebody in the chat room brought it up last night on the show you guys did, that says Xbox and Microsoft catered to the developers and publishers, and Sony and PlayStation catered to the consumers and the gamers.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I mean, it's just everything that Microsoft did is like, well, we got to consider the money that the developer's going to make first. And so DRM comes first. And then Sony's like, no, you guys come first. And, we'll be okay if, and hopefully developers will still survive if we don't sell bajillions of copies because of the DRM thing,
Here's two things. One is I did look up that Destructoid poll. It's under so which is it going to be, Xbox One or PlayStation 4? That they posted that 15 hours ago. Right now, currently, the vote is standing 94.13% for PlayStation 4 and 5.87% for Xbox One. So it's going to be a massive, if things stay the way that they are right now, and that's a huge if. It's going to be a massive shift. But here's Microsoft's versus Sony's issue that I don't think Microsoft really got their hands wrapped around, because they're not a media company. Media companies recognize that, like, say, for example, a newspaper. The product of a newspaper is not a newspaper. The sellable product of a newspaper is audience. The newspaper sells the audience it gets to the advertisers. And when you realize that it's not about making the news, it's about making the audience, then you realize what's the important feature, what's the important product that you have to cultivate. Xbox, because it has always had, at least in the last, 13, 14 years, has always had this user base, players, that it forgot that it's not about technology. It's not selling technology. What it is selling is audience. And if it doesn't have the audience, then it's not going to have the developers. So catering to the developers is bass-ackwards.
Yeah, well, it's just like if you're so concerned about the DRM, right?
Right.
Well, if nobody buys the game, you don't have to worry about it.
Right, exactly. The DRM is pointless. Catering to the developers is pointless, because developers will not care about developing for your game, won't care about your contracts, won't care about all of your extra features that protect them and make money if there are no gamers playing this console. And from what it stands right now, the massive base, the established base of customers is shifting to PlayStation 4. Now, the question is, do the features that they have make it appealing to a new realm of people? And that's what we did. That gamers, when the original Wii came out, gamers looked at it and said, fuck that, we're not playing with that. Well, that's true, but they weren't looking at gamers. That was a console that was not made for the established base. That was made for a new base, and it did. It created a brand new market of people that were drawn in, that had never played a console game before. I don't think that the Xbox One has the features that's going to grab everybody that doesn't play games and bring them into the Xbox fold enough to compensate for what they've lost.
Yeah, I think they were trying to expand and bring in a whole new base of people, and then they pissed off their initial base, and
and it's not enough to replace.
Yeah, there's obviously going to be people on these. There's going to be some Xbox haters and some PlayStation haters, like my buddy. He's like, no, I ain't going to PlayStation 4. I don't care if Xbox was, he didn't say this, but if Xbox was $1,000, he'd still get it because he just didn't like PlayStation. And there's some people that are going to say the same. If PlayStation was $9.99, I'd still get it because I'm a PS4 guy or I'm a PlayStation guy, and I had a bad experience at Xbox. So you're going to get your people that aren't going to move no matter what. You know, that's probably a small percentage that are just going to follow you to the end of the earth. But yeah, I'm a big Xbox. I'm not a fanboy per se, but I do like the Xbox. I like the original Xbox. I like the 360. I've had some fun. I've met a ton of people on there, and that's why I'm so sad. Mm-hmm. In fact, before Sony even said the PS4, remember how sad I was about Xbox One? Mm-hmm. And you said, "Well, wait till E3." And the Xbox press conference wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad, all things considered. But Sony buried them, mm-hmm. and they not only did they bury them, they just kept hitting them and hitting them.
Oh, and they're continuing to hit them. And I don't know if have you looked at the postings that I put up on the Facebook page, on the Gamehounds Facebook page. You can find it at Facebook.com/user/Gamehounds. The Gamehounds.
Yeah, the Gamehounds on Facebook.
But already things are getting defaced. Let me go to it so I can find it. The first one was Jack Trenton's profile page on Wikipedia. That let me get to it really quick. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So the first one was Jack Trenton's Wikipedia page, and somebody went on to Jack Trenton's page, and oh, come on, Piss Boy, you really do post way the fuck too much.
Yeah, he's on there a lot.
Yeah, he was like, blah, blah,
he
blah,
can't,
blah,
he can't come. I don't know how he does it because he was supposed to come on the show today, and right now.
Well, he's working, so
yeah. So he must have it on auto post.
No, he's got an app that does pretty much awesome stuff.
So he must have some minions somewhere.
So Jack Trenton's Wikipedia page, the first paragraph reads, Jack Trenton is the president and CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment of America, the division of Sony Computer Entertainment, which is a subsidiary of Sony Corporation. He is primarily responsible for the company's United States market. Jack was charged with murder on June 10th, 2013 for the brutal slaying of Microsoft's Xbox One. That's on his website, on his Wikipedia page. And then followed shortly by the Wikipedia page for list of burn centers in the United States.
I saw that, yeah.
This is a list of burn treatment centers in the United States. A burn treatment center or burns unit is a hospital specializing in treatment of burns. First entry, Sony Entertainment. Sony Entertainment acted as the burn center for Microsoft employees following E3 2013. Yeah, there was gleeful excitement and defacing of public property. It was kind of like when the LA Lakers win the NBA title. It was like literally dancing in the street. People were setting cars on fire when that press conference was over.
Yeah, it's wow.
Yeah.
It's
There's
it's everything. It's everything that Microsoft isn't.
right. But hold off, and I hate to be the person that's like throwing the, like you said, you call it the turd in the
punch bowl.
The punch bowl.
You don't want to be that guy,
right? But I will say this is that now that we're 15, 20 hours out of this exuberant lighting of cars on fire and dancing in the streets about the Sony presentation, now's the time to take a step back. Microsoft can't let this stand. Xbox One will fail. Fail so bad that it will take everything with it if they let it stand the way it is.
Yeah, it has to change. I agree. Because right now, as it stands today, a little after 5 Eastern time, June 11th, if everything stands as is, okay, when the consoles come out, I'm not going to get anything right away, but when they do come out, if I'm going to buy one right now, it's PS4.
Right.
And even going into yesterday, I was holding out a lot of hope that Xbox and Microsoft would say the right thing and Sony wouldn't. There'd be something that Sony said that goes, oh, good, yeah, can't live with that.
You were kind of hoping that Sony was going to be worse than Xbox.
I'm kind of hoping that the hot chick farted or something like that. Or you found out that she had like 3 kids.
Because it would be so much easier because then you don't have to go through the divorce.
Yes. I could stay with Xbox and deal with all the crap. But it's just like there's nothing, well, I don't say there's nothing wrong with the PS4, but everything that I want is there in Xbox One.
It's going to be a little different. But remember, I have already been there. I left PlayStation 2 to go to Xbox 360. And it was tough for me. But there is a certain point when you realize that that it is more harmful to you to stay in the marriage than get a divorce, that it's okay. You just have to, as long as you stop looking back at the old wife and dragging it out, just cut your ties, recognize it's going to be a little difficult. The conversion is going to be, it's going to have its problems, but then once you do, you're going to be happier at the other side.
But here's what I'm getting at. So June 11th today, and right now, if, like I say, put a gun to my head, I'm going PS4. The only thing, I don't say the only, but if things were to come out, and like I said, there is still time, let's just say Sony comes out and says, well, it's not exactly DRM free. And it's not quite exactly offline all the time. You know what I mean? If they come out and they all of a sudden stuff leaks out and say, well, we do need you to check in once in a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If all of a sudden these little things trickle out, you know what I mean? It's like when you buy a car, you're like, oh, this is great. Then you go into the room and like, well, you need to buy this. And then you need to buy. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, man, I'm not excited anymore. The deal that I thought I have, you go in there and you got to buy this coverage and that coverage and, you know, whatever.
It's hard to – Sony will not backtrack from what they said.
No, but what I'm saying is this.
And they've already said that a lot of the things that you really hate about the Xbox One, they have put into stone in front of everyone saying this is not happening.
What I'm getting at is, though, is if the only way I would go to the Xbox One at this point is if these little things come out and all of a sudden the deal is not what it is right now. Right now, we all got it in our head that, okay, Sony this, Sony this, Sony this. Okay, perfect. That's what we want. Now, all of a sudden, if little things start to squeak out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think it's more likely the other way. Is that the wife is all of a sudden going to realize that the new chick has so much more to offer that she's going to back down.
That's the other thing. If all of a sudden, Xbox swings around and says, you know something, we just rethought this and we are not doing the trade-in thing and we are not going to require to be on. You don't need any. But I don't see how they can do that.
No, they can't really do that.
Maybe they could pick one, but I don't see the 3 or 4 major points: price, the Connect all the time. I mean, the Connect camera, the connection all the time, and then the DRM used games. Those are 4 major points. And then you get the 5, which is all the extra stuff that Sony keeps saying we're a gaming system. Yes, you can watch movies, but we're first and foremost a gaming system. So those 5 major points, I can't see Xbox changing all 5.
No,
and that's the killer.
Well, they might. However, they would have to completely redesign that box. And in order to do that, they will miss the November release at this point.
Yep. And
which would give Sony an advantage of being the first one on the market.
The only thing now, when's Sony supposed to come out?
No, they have said holidays. However, I want to say, it was Piss Boy that found out that one of the, I think it was Ghost Recon. One of the launch titles has a release date of November 5th, and it's a launch title. So we're using the transitive property to say if the launch title is November 5th, or if the launch for this game, if the release for this game is November 5th, and it is a launch title, therefore the launch must be November 5th. That's our supposition, but it's right in that time frame of November.
Okay. All right, so they're both November-ish in that area. Okay. So one's not saying March of 2014 or anything like that.
No, they're both holidays. They're releasing at least within a month of each other. They may be even releasing within the same week.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see how Xbox could go ahead with Xbox One and release in November, and then maybe in 3 months say, okay, we have a Xbox 2, that doesn't require all this. Because remember when PlayStation had one of theirs would play the PS2 games and one wouldn't, and so I don't.
And what a terrible, terrible naming meme they would get themselves into, a naming system. If you had Xbox One that is the entire system and then an Xbox 2. Naming them essentially Xbox number 1 and Xbox number 2. You either going to get shit or piss. It's like, this is slightly better than shit. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting couple of months.
That is the only thing. I mean, something has to change. It has to change drastically to get me not to get on the PS4.
Well,
and I'm not saying I'm going to
wait and see. It's something has to give, because either the way it stands now, Xbox is dead. I mean, Microsoft's Xbox division, I will even call that, and be that hyperbolic. If things go exactly as they stand right now, Microsoft's Xbox division is toast. The whole division.
They're going to take a huge hit, and they're going to have to scramble to save it.
They will have to start over and make a whole new box. And they can't afford to do that because it's so expensive to do a console.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing what else can they do? They've put out a turd. Mm-hmm. They laid an egg. They put out a turd, and they're getting. It's not a 50-50. It's not a 60-40. Like you said, it's 90-10 out there.
It's 95-5.
Yeah. In fact, I was watching. I get on IGN today, and I was watching some. Their wrap up, and they all said the same thing. They said, "Look, the Xbox press conference was not bad. If you look at it just by itself, it was actually pretty good." They had a couple games. They got you excited. Here's some of our features. Great. But then Sony come out and knocked it out of the park.
Right.
They just blew you away, and they took shots at everything that Microsoft did wrong, Sony come out and did right. And it just made Microsoft look so bad.
I really, really, really wish that I was at E3 right now, because I would like to see the reaction on the floor, because that's also another really great indicator. It's another canary in the coal mine that says what's going to happen is the way that these investors and buyers are examining and their thinking. And also, to see, even if I had a photo or a video stream of the floor, looking at what's going on over at the Xbox booth versus what's going on at the PlayStation booth. Because you can see that those are one of those unknown things that you don't know until you're on the floor, but you can actually see what's hot by just going up to the second level and looking over. That's how I knew Rock Band was going to be, Guitar Hero, when it first came out, was going to be huge. Because you went down into what was the name of that hall? But it was a hall of all the small games, and you could literally just look out over the floor and you could see, oh my God, what's going on over there? Because it was just packed with people, and you'll see. So
yeah, it's I wish this went the other way. I really wish. I don't want to leave Xbox, but I mean, something new might not be bad as long as it does what I need it to do. I mean, I'll have to find new friends and the whole bit, but.
No, you won't. It's all your old friends. But I would definitely see if you can get on and secure Holy Goalie on PlayStation Network.
Well, I did go on there and sign up. That was gone.
Aw.
But I did get Gamer Goalie.
Okay, good.
So that kind of falls in line with my Twitter. But the way I'm looking at it is I'm going to keep my 360 probably for a long time because there's a lot of games I still play. And if the wife doesn't buy into the PS4 or if I still got friends that play the Xbox 360. But, I can't see myself getting a PS4 at least a month or two after it comes out. I want to hear the feedback. I want to hear what people are saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to let someone else spend their money and find out. And all of a sudden, it could be like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever.
Well, I'm definitely getting a console on release. And right now, it's very much looking like Sony because I've already made the change once. I have no problem making that change again. It can happen very, very easily in this house, especially since I don't have to give up my Xbox 360. They're not shutting down the 360. In fact, they've issued a new 360, which I may get because my 360 is very old and very slow.
My next console is going to be a 360 because I picked up mine. I think it's 2.5 years old. I bought it refurbed for a couple $100 at GameStop, and it's making all kinds of noise, and it's really slow booting up.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I
mine's
think
super slow as well, and it's Oh, did you hear? Okay, 500 gigabyte hard drive for the PS4, and this, God, if they needed any more nails in the coffin of the Xbox One, 500 gigabyte hard drive, and
it's removable.
Yeah,
it's just doing everything that you want to be as a game.
They learned their lesson, and I'm proud of them. In fact, I have a lot more respect for Sony because they learned their lesson, because they blew it on the PlayStation 3 so huge, so large. They truly screwed up, and they weren't going to let that screw up happen again, and good for them.
Yeah, so I'm going to wait. I didn't jump on the last consoles in a hurry, and I waited it out, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's feel it out. Let's see what people say. Let's get the feedback on. Let's see how it goes, and just take it from there. Unless there's a big big turnaround by Xbox in the next couple of months. And
Nick DiNicola just texted me and says, "Oh God, Xbox isn't going to die. PS3 survived." I said, "Yes, but they're gonna take a hit. This is nothing. This is unprecedented in the console war to have such an immediate reaction from the entire gaming public to the point of 95% of people right now are saying they're buying a PS4. That didn't happen when PlayStation 3 blew it in E3 2000 whatever it was, and they announced that the PlayStation 3 was going to be $699. There was a reaction, and it was very large, but it's nothing like this one. No way, no how. This is unprecedented in the history of the console wars.
I don't think Xbox dies. I agree with Nick. It's not going to die. It'll still be there. You still have your base playing it, but it's...
Well, you'll still have people playing 360, and in fact, it was Jason Webb who says, if the Xbox dies, do the 360 servers die also? I would predict, well, they've already said that, at least one publisher, EA, has said that they're going to publish games on the 360 until 2017. I would say that the servers will probably shut down maybe 3 years later. So I'm thinking 2020 until the servers for the 360 shut down.
Yeah, you'll be able to play that for a while.
And Shonigan says 2006. Yeah, 2006 when I was sitting there watching, was it Kaz Hirai or I think it was Kaz Hirai who came up who said, "Yep, it's going to be $699," and everybody's like, "Fuck that!" And it was, but this is way worse. This is way bigger.
Yeah, way bigger. Nick's saying just because social media is so big now that it's a bigger deal than it was, but that's how stuff travels.
Right, that's the thing. That's how people. Social media wasn't part of it before. Now social media is, and to say that social media you have to discount social media. That's exactly the opposite. You have to take social media into account. Is that the more people that are going out and researching and finding out what everybody's playing and what's the good console? Everybody in the world is saying PS4. Mommy and Daddy are going to buy a PS4, especially when it's only $50 more than a Wii U, and it's $100 cheaper than the Xbox One.
Yep, I agree. The social media comes in huge on this. I mean, that sways a lot of things.
It swings everything.
It's big. It's big. it's just big. It's involved in everything now. Facebook and Twitter is a huge deal, and everybody's on there. And I'm on my Facebook too, and I get people that I didn't even know play video games, and they're saying, "Wow, Xbox is it sucks." There was one guy that
Nick
was
says it only seems bigger. No, it doesn't seem bigger. It is bigger because of social media. Social media is not a reflection. It is actually an engine to this. Nick, why don't you get on? Stop working and just... I want to fight you now. See, Goalie? Now it's you and me against Nick, and he's not here.
That's all right. I got to head out in about 5 minutes. I got to go to work tonight anyway, but... we'll talk more about this tomorrow. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is if some major changes come in. If major changes come in on Xbox to keep people there, I mean, Major Nelson must be sweating. He's probably trying to get a job at Sony right now.
Yeah, Major. Well, there are very. Remember, I said before there was a lot of very heavy duty conversations going on in Redmond right now. Once they heard the reaction 2 weeks ago when they announced their DRM and essentially unveiled the Xbox One. I guess those conversations didn't happen, or they figured that they would all weather it well. But I think there is no question now that there has got to be something happening in Redmond now. There's got to make some kind of decision to either backtrack, and they're going to have to do it. And its question is, do we do this in a way to try and save face? There is no way to save face on this. You got burnt. Back off and try and save yourself. It's like The Division. The virus, you've already been infected. The virus has happened. The question is, how do you save what's left? Don't try and cure the virus. Just try and save people until it passes.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? I mean, they've announced everything. They've tried to backtrack a little bit on the DRM and the used games and try to explain how you can give it away once, and it's so damn complicated. Mm-hmm. If I put it in my wife's Xbox One and now that's it, that game is dead.
Yeah,
that's dead. I mean, it's people don't want to think that much. It's like, I bought this, I want to trade it in. That's what Sony said. You bought it, do what you want with it. You want to give it to me, give it to me. You want to play it somewhere over your friend's house, you can play it over your friend's house.
Yeah. So, well, it's all come down to, I know I said 2 weeks ago, wait and see. Now that both of the bombs have been dropped, and obviously we are advantage Sony, I'd say wait and see. It's the November is a long way away. Things can happen between here and there. And yeah, there is possibility that Sony will introduce something, because it was obviously shining itself up and knew that it had advantage and wanted to say the right thing so that it could have this moment. So there may be some things in it that you're not crazy about. But for right now, it's a serious wait and see moment to see where this next step is. I have not been so excited about a console, a new console, and watching the politics that's going on. Talk about a Game of Thrones. This is the true Game of Thrones for me this year, and I'm loving every minute of it as a spectator, knowing that I'm a player in it because they're all playing for me and my attention and my dollar, but at the same time, it's a fascinating study in just marketing and electronics politics and consumerism. It's just
but you know what's
hilarious to watch.
The real funny thing about this whole thing is a few months ago when Xbox released their press conference there, whatever they did, and I went ballistic and I was like, that's it, it's the end of gaming for me. Xbox, and everybody's like, oh, you're full of drama, you're going off the deep end. And boy, none of that really changed.
I figured it might. I thought they might, because I said that they've got to be reassessing their strategy, and they didn't.
Not much. I mean, now they're saying, okay, you can put it in one console that's on your friends list for 30 days. Again, it's all fucking crazy. People don't want to think that much. Yeah. It's like, oh, did you put it in somebody else's console? Oh, you shouldn't have done that. You can't have that with games,
right?
So my initial reaction is off the deep end as it was about the new Xbox. I was more concerned that they weren't going to pay attention to games. And then when it come out about the DRM and the online connectivity and the Connect going all the time and watching you, and then they had the E3 with the price, and basically they tried to they didn't touch on the hot button subjects. They didn't smooth it over. They just ignored it.
Right, and that was the decision that was made in the offices at Redmond, the ones that I said that these high power. The decision was made. We're not answering questions. We are shutting down the comments on YouTube, and we are not doing a roundtable. That was their decision.
Yep,
it was full steam ahead. I know that there is an iceberg out there, but you know what? The Titanic is unsinkable. Don't worry about it.
Yep, they didn't want to address any of those issues. They danced around it a little bit, with that little press release before E3.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh, look at all these wonderful things that it does if you buy a brand new game.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Sony's just sitting back. And Jason Webb asks, so E3 was the red wedding? E3 was definitely the red wedding, where, we're just going to keep going, and we're going to ignore the obvious and walk into the jaws of the hounds, jaws of the beast, and trust that the beast is not going to bite us. And Sony was like, nope. Sorry. You can go ahead, kill my wife. I can get another. That's pretty much what it was. Is fucking, we're not, just because you're doing DRM doesn't mean we have to, dude. No. So, yeah.
The other thing that, you think about here is like if whoever the publishers are with Xbox One, it's odd that EA says we're not going to do the online pass anymore. So maybe they're thinking that, okay, because with the new consoles, you're going to have to be connected and you won't be able to use games. So maybe they're thinking they were all set. So,
that was probably why they introduced the PlayStation Plus having to being necessary, that membership being necessary to play online games.
Yeah, but my question is, if you're EA or if you're Ubisoft, you're like, okay, we're getting rid of the online pass because, Xbox One and these other consoles are going to require you to ping in and you only can trade it once. So that way you're not going to have 3 people playing the game, only 1 or 2. But now PlayStation says, nope, it's thrown out the window. And you can buy a game and give it to me. I can give it to Nick. We can give it to Piss Boy. We can give it to Jason. We can give it to Black Sphere Void. I mean, so with PlayStation, that's bouncing around. So if you're the developer and publisher and you get rid of the online pass and things like that, weren't you kind of counting on that DRM restrictions?
Right. No. That's exactly what you were counting on. And
so now, is that going to affect your relationship with PlayStation?
Yes.
Because they don't have that now.
Yes. But what are you going to do about it if they have 95% of the market?
This is true. So if they're going to sell more games on, that's I guess that's the roll of the dice. Mm-hmm. Is do you go safe and say, okay, well, we're going to sell the Xbox only because we know that our games are not going to be used by more than 1 or 2 people? Or do we say, well, we want to sell a shitload of games, even though,
Nick says Sony probably caught the publishers by surprise, too. Yeah, probably. They made a move. They made a big move. It was the red wedding. They made a big move.
So I guess that if you're a publisher, you got to decide, when you see these, the numbers, do you want to go to the 90 or the 95% guy and sell your games knowing that there's no DRM, trade-in, restrictions? Or do you want to go to the smaller percentage and be guaranteed? Yeah.
Do you want to go to a fraction of the market and make a lot on a little bit or a little bit on a lot? If Sony moves in and dominates the market the way that the PlayStation 2 did, or before the Xbox came in, the Xbox original came in, then yeah, and the way it looks right now, at least for the core gamer base, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Did you see somebody on Twitter today? I don't know if it was Void retweeted or not, but there was a tweet out the other day that said, Xbox One is down. Xbox One is down. Call the ambulance. Wii U. Wii U. Brilliant. It was brilliant. It really was.
That's hilarious. You know what? I'm never going to be able to not call it a Wii U from now on. Now, all of a sudden, the Wii jokes have turned into Wii U jokes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, going.
Yeah, that was wow.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
I can't believe I didn't get to see it last night because of all the hiccups and how late it ran and, blah 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 blah. But
I wish you'd have been there, because if you'd have seen it live, it was that moment. I thank you so much for that analogy of the red wedding, because it was like watching the red wedding live. It was that moment when you knew that absolutely everybody who cares about this is all going, oh my God!
Yeah, when they started chanting Sony and then the crowd was going crazy. I mean, I could just...
I'm surprised they didn't get a standing ovation.
Yeah, if you're over there at Xbox, you just got to be,
shitting your pants.
Head's got to be rolling over there.
Yeah.
Well,
let's not forget, PlayStation 3, even as badly as it lost, and it was nothing like the reaction to this. This is not even half what this was. That PlayStation 3 ended up firing within a few years pretty much all of its high-ups, the big guys in the entertainment division. What was it? Who were the guys? It was Kaz Hirai, and who was the other one with a great name?
Wouldn't know anybody over there.
Oh, Nick would remember. Nick, what's the dude's name? The other guy that was part of Sony that got canned.
So they got rid of a lot of the Sony guys.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. In fact, they got rid of the father of the PlayStation. I'm looking that up. Hold on, because that's going to be...
Oh, it's bugging you there.
Yeah, it's going to bug me all day. Ken Kutaragi. They fired Ken Kutaragi, or he stepped down, and Kaz Hirai also stepped down. I mean, Ken Kutaragi was, you look up father of the PlayStation, and it brings up Wikipedia for Ken Kutaragi. Yeah. So that loss of PlayStation 3 to the Xbox cost big people jobs. I would imagine that Phil Harrison is probably going to lose his job out of this. There's no question. Phil Harrison will lose his job over this.
Sean Aiken says the Xbox show seemed all right all the way up to the Sony show, and I'd say you're right. I mean, they look pretty good. We talked about the Xbox One show here on Spreaker, and we were like, yeah, not bad. I'm not counting them out yet. They said they had some good things. Maybe I could deal with all their pitfalls, and then Sony comes out and just says, no, you don't have a curfew. You can take the car out when you want. All the things you want to hear.
Right. Yeah, I don't think Steve Ballmer will lose his job, because he's more involved with the whole Microsoft, like everything, the technology, not just Xbox, but definitely Phil Harrison will lose his job.
All right, well, I'm rolling out. I'm going to go hit the rink.
All right.
And, I guess we'll be back tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
For our other live show, plus our regular one. And lots to talk about.
Totally more to talk about. And to remember, tomorrow we do have our Game Hounds show that we're going to record, and you will be seeing it next Sunday. So between here and there, unless there is some major news, which I doubt, but it's entirely possible, you never know. Because that's the thing about Spreaker. You never know when it's going to happen. But we will be having our regular episode. You can find our episodes at gamehounds.net. And that's going to go up next Sunday. And then on top of that, if you want to sign up for us, please do. Game Hounds. On iTunes, there is also an iTunes feed for these happy endings at Game Hounds Happy Endings. Sign up for both of those. And please, especially with the happy endings, since we're a brand new show, if you're a listener, if you're an old listener, if you're a new listener, if you're listening to this on download or live, please go to the iTunes page. Give us a review. Let us know what you think. Maybe we, even down to needs to be shorter. We could do that. Or we need to fire Nick. Totally can write that in there.
Right. Yeah. All right.
But please give us some feedback in the iTunes page for Game Hounds Happy Endings specifically, but also if you have, while you're there, drop off and some feedback for Game Hounds as well. Goalie, thanks again, and have a good day. And I'll keep my eyes open for any new news and text it to you. As sure Nick will also do the same thing.
All right. Sounds good.
And to the chat room go. Nick, Shawnikin, Black Sphere Void, and that's the problem with these chat room pages, as I can't scroll back up, but whoever else, Andrew Smith, who's in the chat room, hey, Chaos, Black Sphere Void, I'm looking, Dave, that was you, it's having a root, I have to talk to Spreaker and see if I can fix that, but thanks so much, guys.
Yep, thank you so much.
And we will talk to you when the next big, huge bomb drops. Talk to you later.